Today is February 29, 2012. It's 5:02. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
About the same, yeah. Well, I don't track anything in. Hello. How you doing?
Hi, guys.
Did I hear the dog bark?
No.
No. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Running, but all right.
Running, but all right.
Glad to catch up with you. You want to sit down for a minute? Sure. I can sit with you, or you can ask whatever questions, and then I'll talk to you. Hey, nice to see you. Yeah, how are you? Good. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. Questions? I know that the last court hearing was, yeah, right, and I want you to feel free to let me know what you're feeling, because
No, why don't you let me know what you're feeling?
right, because I was completely, you gotta understand, there's two hands,
Right.
and they're not talking,
Right.
and that's what happened.
Right.
And I knew that was, so I'm glad I was able to make the visit tonight, because I spoke with the guy, emailing back and forth with that supervisor, and the county council. I'm just gonna give you the real deal. The county council knows what needs to happen.
Right.
Apparently some people don't, and it's not happening. So I'm going to take it upon myself to submit a portion of the next report to make sure that things.
Well, that sounds positive.
Yeah, because really, that was I did the emailing thing, and I said, well, what about this? What about that? And what I can't go too into it, because then it makes. I don't want to make it sound like I'm kicking the can, because what's been happening is someone's been kicking the can, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not kicking the can, and I think that when you, I'm in a tough spot. There's certain things that I want to say. I just met with my supervisor before I came.
It's not. What I'm getting is, you correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it's not all up to you.
It is not, but I'm gonna have to make it. And the thing is, I take a risk in doing that.
I got you.
But I'm okay with that at this point, because I think that's what needs to happen.
Okay.
And so I'm going to say my part, do my thing, and see where we can go with a recommendation. Because I believe over the last 6 months, what I was told in the beginning was you were not given any court orders.
That's right. Yeah.
The court order to be evaluated was a recommendation. It was not an order.
Right.
For whatever reason, we didn't get that, what they call a non-pro-tunc, to change that. But I know, and I spoke to our attorney for the department who was representing us at the time, that was the case. So we knew what we needed to do. Move forward, make regular contact. I'm sure things are, for the most part, smooth as they have been. Yes, I have a little concern about the schools. I've emailed Mr. Powell about it. He's told me his part about it, and that's where it is. What are we going to do? Right?
I don't know. You got to comply with state law, which is what we're doing.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So what are we going to do? That's not our deal. I can't make that a deal anymore.
Right.
Everything that was stated in the first court, nice to see you, by the way. I just came in kind of hot off the camera.
It's okay.
Because I realized when I saw both of you here, it's like, wait a minute. And I just spent, and I'm almost late because I was talking to my boss, and I wanted to let her know where I was going, and that this is what's been going on, and you may get some emails about this in the next week, but there's decisions that need to be made that are being made, and what they're doing is, I don't want to go on, because it's almost like you know what I'm getting.
I think so.
But the bottom line is, I did not expect that, and then when it came up, it was a back and forth, discussion. Where are you going at it? And then we had a new attorney assigned, Ms. Legaspi, who wasn't totally privy. I think if Mr. Goyen was still on the case, we wouldn't be here right now. But with Ms. Legaspi being on the case, having to get up to speed on it, she kind of got bombarded by what was submitted. And I didn't agree with what was submitted, I'm being honest with you. And I told the guy, well, if that's what you guys want to do, go ahead and do it. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. All it's going to do is waste the time with the court.
Right.
And your family. If anything, I think what at this point we need to do is say, okay, the circumstances that were considered to be posing a risk to the children back in was initially sent in January of last
Well,
year?
February
Of
10th.
last year.
Mhm.
February last year, have been addressed and have been mitigated. And if you look at the circumstance outside, what I did is I took the reports home that weekend before the hearing. I took the reports home and I said, no, I can't, because what I was being told was, well, we're going to file this. I'm like, okay, you haven't been out to see the family in 6 months.
Right.
You haven't bothered to talk to me about it.
Right.
You haven't bothered to make a connection to figure out what's going on, and yet you're saying, well, he didn't comply, then he didn't let the children's attorney talk to the kids. I've talked to the children. There's no imminent risk to the children at this point.
Right.
So what was seen as a concern then, also in consideration of the other circumstances, having been uprooted from the home you had been living in for quite some time, having to scramble to create a stable home for your children, and even looking at some of the things about the food and whatever not. I mean, the bottom line is, all that was thrown out by the court in the first place.
Right.
So whether or not someone perceived there to be a problem at the time, by the time this got settled in court, that was all a non-issue.
Right.
It was a non-issue. When it's dismissed, it becomes a non-issue. And then they came up with the petition we talked about the first time I met,
Right.
which I thought was like, okay. And again, I did this from nobody. I said that's the most outlandish petition I've ever seen in 14 years. And so I said, okay, if that's what they're going to do, that's what they're going to do. The bottom line is we need to set this aside, move forward, and when we get to February, let's wrap this up.
Right.
Let's wrap this up. Regardless of, I know that I think we talked the first time, but there's a claim that's been filed. Regardless of that, regardless of what you think you have to do or what the department thinks we have to do to protect ourselves, at the end of the day, do what needs to be done and move forward. So I'm going to work really hard to make sure that gets taken care of. And I've already put an email to our attorney, Ms. Legaspi, last week. I haven't heard back. I don't know if she's away or what, but I'll hit her up again via telephone. And if I have to, I work very closely with the court officers in the department.
Okay.
Actually, met with them 2 weeks ago on another case. I went in after lunch. I said, let me go see I call them the girls, the ladies.
Right.
I shouldn't call them the girls, but I've known them for 15 years. And let me go check in with them. I'm going to go by and talk with them, and I can catch up with Christina then. And just, because the minute I got the email from the guy who wrote the report and his supervisor, and they're saying that this is, but Christina's saying this, I'm like, well, if she's saying that, then I don't need to say anything else, right? You already know what's happening. So that's what I wanted to let you know up front, because I was driving over thinking, and I was just as heated last week about it, because I said, well, this is creating, I think we'd gotten to a point where we could say, okay, we're going to move forward on this. That's this. And I'm not trying to kiss anyone's butt, pardon the expression. I'm not trying to make you make a decision A, B, or C. That's not what my goal is. My goal is to make sure you all are feeling good about our interactions when I walk away from this case, to make sure that you all feel that whatever I can do to validate your rights at this time, I'm doing that. What happened before, what's going on with the pending claim, whatever lawsuit may come, it's not my concern, because at the end of the day, guess who's going to get sued? The department.
Right.
I'm not going to get sued personally.
Right.
But I don't like my department. I wouldn't have worked there this long if I did. We had a meeting recently with some other supervisors. So, we're all having a certain amount of time. We wouldn't be able to love what we do, right?
Of course.
And at the end of the day, we love what we do because we know most of the time we're doing the right thing. And we try really hard. If we do something and we act too hastily or something gets done that should have been done differently, we try to correct that. And that's the goal. So I didn't have the time to correct, well, I can't